Hello, this is Dr. Dawn Michael. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to go over 7 things that you should not be doing in your marriage. And this is equally between men and women, so I'm just going to say that you shouldn't be doing this as a spouse. And some of them you might say, oh, well, these are just common sense, and that's good because it may just be a reminder. But there might be other things that you might be on the line with, or you might have thought are acceptable, and really truly they're not. And they can very much damage the marriage as well as the trust in the marriage. And so I'm going to go over those things with you, and hopefully it will help if you're a little fuzzy or not sure on maybe if you've crossed the line or not. So the first one is yelling profanities at each other. And I know that for many couples, they have done this, and maybe some do it habitually, but the reality is it's really not helpful to yell profanities at each other in any circumstance. It doesn't make the situation better. It usually makes the other person who's being yelled at feel really bad, and if you're doing it back and forth to each other, it's really not healthy. And if you have children that you're doing it in front of, this is just teaching them that it's okay to be rude to each other, it's okay to use bad language, and it's something that couples really should work on because, you know, couples do argue, but you argue to resolve problems. You don't argue to put each other down or to, you know, make the other person feel bad about themselves. And really, it does create a lot of resentment. So, if you get in an argument, try not to yell profanities at each other. Number 2, getting physically abusive. And you may think this is just hitting or kicking, but there's also pinching and pushing and pulling and shaking and slapping. All of these things are physically abusive. And really, if you're angry, you should definitely keep your hands to yourself. And it's just a reminder that it's not okay to do this. Hurting somebody or getting physical when you're upset shows aggression. It shows that you're out of control, and it really is a very unhealthy thing to do. And if you are blurred on some of these, I'm trying to clear this up for you so that you understand that it's really not an acceptable way to act towards anybody, especially your spouse and somebody that you love. Number 3, this is something that I think couples really need to sit down and talk about, and it has to do with purchasing large ticket items without consulting the other person. And really, when you're married and you're sharing your finances, even if you have separate bank accounts, it's always courteous to go over with your spouse if you're going to purchase a large ticket item. And it's something that really will make your marriage a place where you can trust one another and talk about things. And, you know, all of a sudden, if someone comes home with a new car, or, you know, they've purchased a house or a boat or an expensive piece of jewelry, perhaps it's nice if the two of you discuss these things together. And also that you are comfortable with them purchasing things and you have an agreement. So let's say the two of you have an agreement that, okay, you make a certain amount, he makes a certain amount, she makes a certain amount, and that it's okay to spend this. But if you have some problems with finances or you haven't really discussed it, sometimes it's best that you do not do big purchase items without consulting each other. Number 4, this is something that really can create some panic and fear in some people, and that is if your spouse leaves for a day or two or a week without telling you. They just up and leave. You don't know where they are. You can't find them. They haven't left a note. This is really actually kind of cruel to do, is to leave your spouse wondering where you are or if something happened to you. And it's really not a responsible thing to do, and it's not very nice to up and leave and not tell your spouse where you are. Next would be going through your spouse's phone, computer, getting into their private files without asking them. So this is really just being courteous and not going through their things. And if you have a feeling that something is going on or you don't trust them, you need to sit down and have that conversation before you start snooping through their things. It's really not something nice to do. It's not something that is respectful. And sometimes people do this, and I think most of the time people know they shouldn't be doing this, but I'm just saying it really crosses the line. The next one is taking something of your spouse's that is important to them and either taking it from them and hiding it or destroying it and getting rid of it without their permission. This is not acceptable either. If you know that your spouse has something that is important to them and maybe you get angry at them or there's some other reasons, don't take their precious items or their things and destroy them or sell them or get rid of them without their permission. It is really disrespectful and it's really crossing the line. And lastly, this is something that some couples do, and it really can backfire, and that is talking bad about your spouse behind their back, spreading rumors, saying things that aren't nice, saying bad things about them. You know, oftentimes couples fight, and somebody might want to talk to their friend or something about something their spouse did. Well, you have to be careful because sometimes when you make up, that friend is going to still be on your side and not like your spouse. But obviously, if you're having problems, it is important to talk to somebody, perhaps a neutral party, a professional, or somebody that doesn't necessarily know your spouse. But talking badly about them, spreading rumors, and just saying nasty things overall really can come back and hurt the relationship. So really think about that before you open your mouth and say something because you really can't take it back. And this goes for writing, texting, emailing, the same thing. Just be careful because you represent your family. And when you're married, you represent each other. You're a married couple. And so things that you do or say does have a reflection or consequence on your spouse. So those are 7 important things that you really shouldn't do in a marriage. And I hope that this has given some insight and helped some of you that may have been on the fence about this or just needed a reminder. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, share my videos, subscribe, and leave your comment. As you know, I believe everyone deserves to have a healthy sex life, and so do you.